Hello everyone and welcome to round 6 of the URL-GT1 Championship. We are at the legendary Donington Park for a 70-minute race. And if you're in the UK, you know it can get wet, and wet it was in qualifying. Alex Scott put his car on pole, half a second or more than half a second clear of his teammate. So the Ferrari F40 on Pirelli tires proved to be a very competitive car on this track in these conditions. Felix Boucher put his car on P3 for the first time. In the AM Cup it was Rob Timpen taking pole in front of Matthias Christensen and Sando Donadel. We also welcomed two returners, Farana Matajudin and Angelo Giudici. So here is the grid, and also for the race it was wet, very wet. Let's see how everyone gets off the grid. Sten Mikkel Olsen jumps the start, and his teammate Miko Korkiakowski in the orange Lamborghini gets up the inside, gets punted off by Angelo Guidici and takes out Peter Abelovsky as well. For the rest it's quite clean through turn 1. Here is Michal Klisch in P7 at the moment, and oh, that's Felix Boucher making a small mistake, tapping him off and right into the grass, sliding across the track. Hopefully he can get back on track. So here's the whole field streaming past, and some of the AM guys will get mixed up with the pro guys due to some incidents. Alex Scott has a good gap already, but behind him it's his teammate Miguel playing the roadblock, keeping all the guys behind up a little bit. But Greg Metcalf is trying to get past Angelo Guidici. Some superior speed in that Nissan, gets it braked in time, and oh, small mistake by Miguel Santiago Carao, getting helped a bit by Peter Bacchus, but Capanos can continue unharmed. So Felix Boucher fell back a little bit here. We see Chris Simpson and Muxi Istvan and Bjarne Christensen battling it out here in the hairpin. And it's Miko Korkiakowski, Peter Abelovsky, Miguel Santiago Carao. So these are some pro guys here in the back. Michal Klisch as well is there, but it's Alex Scott completing lap 1 in first position. Then it's Greg Metcalf and Angelo Giudici. Felix Boucher made it back up to P4. Florian Kutz is in P7. Matthias Christensen is currently in first in the AM Cup, but that will probably change several times. Sten Mikkel Olsen serving his stop and go penalty at the end of lap 1. Miko Korkiakowski coming in for splitter repairs. Sando Donadel as well. So on lap 2, Greg Metcalf just overshot the braking into the hairpin, and Angelo Guidici doesn't need that invitation twice, and he took second position. Can he get it slowed down for the last tight turn here? Brakes a bit too late, but he has some superior traction out of the turn, so he will keep that second position just in front of Greg Metcalf. Here is Matthias Christensen, and just in front of him was Rob Timpen. Small mistake at the chicane, and Matthias gets through for P1 in the AM Cup. Some guys are starting to pit, and Alex Scott makes a small mistake, giving Angelo Guidici first position in this race. So a good comeback for him at this point, although he caused some chaos on lap 1. Peter Abelovsky and Florian Kutz battling it out. Peter is on the inside here, and gets it in front. Then after some pit stops, Andrei Golubnici here in the red car in front was very far up the grid, made a small mistake and lost 3 positions at once, and it got wetter and wetter. Miguel Santiago Carao getting onto the grass, making a big mistake into the tire barriers, and he will not be the only one doing that this evening. Then Chris Simpson and Rob Timpen, they already pitted, so they are behind Andrei Golubnici, battling for P2 and P3 for the AM Cup. Chris Simpson seems to be a little bit quicker, a little bit more stable here. through this twisty section. But good driving from them both, keeping it on the track. That's the most important thing in this race. It will be all about damage limitation, trying to be on the right tire at the right moment, and spending as less time as possible in the pits. Let's see what happens here into the hairpin. Chris looks at the inside, but there is no move on there. Gets through the chicane and superior speed out of the chicane, it seems. Goes for the inside. Yes, he can make a move here. Can he get it slowed down in time? They have Mikko Korkiakoski right behind them, and he's not a lap up or something. He is racing for position, so they have to watch out or let him through. So Mikko already gets past Rob Timpen in this instance, and into the last turn as well. Trying to get past Chris Simpson, but not that easy. Still not past, and Miguel Santiago Carao there on the left, recovering from a spin in the last turn. Can Mikko get around the outside of Chris to take 14th position? Yes, he can. So Robert Horvat had some close moments here with these guys as well. Farhana Matojudin, Chris Simpson and Rob Timpen having a bit of an incident, and Robert having to slice his way through. And then a couple of laps later, the battle for the podium. Alex Scott just in front, making a small mistake in the hairpin. It's very, very wet now, so people are struggling with grip, and that spices up the fight for the podium again. But Robert will have to settle for 4th at the moment. Sten Mikkel Olsen then in P10. He is taking advantage here of a mistake from Yevgeny Leonov. And Angelo Guidici was one of the only guys not to pit in the opening stages for Monsoon tires. So he's still in P1. Here is Alex Scott in 3rd position. Then Robert Horvat, as we saw, in P4. And once again, we will see here Alex Scott making that slight mistake on the hairpin, and this time Robert gets through. He doesn't need a second chance. Mikko Korkiakoski then made it up to P12 by the middle of the race, and he will get past Andrei Golubnishi. No, it's Yevgeny Leonov after a small mistake. So it's all about minimizing the amount of mistakes, and that puts Mikko Korkiakoski almost into the top 10. So here is a second round of pit stops. Alex Scott coming out, and that was I think Greg Metcalf coming out of the pits, so he took that position. Then Felix Boucher and Florian Kutz battling it out here into the last turn. Can Felix get past? He can at the moment. Can he get it slowed down in time? It seems he can. So that's a pass, done and dusted for him. Here Alex Scott followed by Angelo Guidici after the pit stops, doing a synchronized spinning here, both, and luckily getting back into the race without any harm done. So after the pit stops, it was Peter Abelovsky who made it up to 2nd from, remember, his first lap incident. So he had a good stable race with fast pit stops, not too many pit stops, and he's just behind Greg Metcalf. So he did not exit behind Alex Scott. That was Angelo Guidici. Greg Metcalf takes first position, but gets onto the grass a little bit, and the Mercedes is quick in a straight line. If Peter Abelovsky can get it slowed down in time, which he does, he will he does take the lead of this Donington race for now. So let's see what happens. There's not too many laps left. As you can see, it's not raining anymore. The clouds are clearing. So will people have to pit again, or will they finish the race on the tires they're on? Michal Kliž and Peter Bakus also had a big battle here at the end of the race. Peter getting superior traction out of the last turn, going for the inside. brakes a bit too late, understeers, and Michal can dive up the inside again onto the apex, and Peter Backus will have to have some patience and try again. We are coming up onto the old hairpin, very tricky braking zone. They both get it stopped. Traffic management was also a big part of this race, as several people were one or more laps down, so that played a crucial role. And here Michal Klisch making a small mistake going onto the grass, and Peter Backus takes 8th position from him right at the very end of this race. So Greg Metcalf could stay very close to Peter Abelovsky, sorry. He was pushing like hell, as you can see. The track is drying out, so they're both probably still on wet or intermediate tires that are must be melting right now, so not a lot of grip. Tippy toeing here around the hairpin. Peter Abelovsky making a slight mistake. Can Greg take advantage of that? He gets into first position for a second. Can he get it slowed down? No, he understeers and even spins it a little bit. So Greg Metcalf will have to settle for second in this race. Here's Peter Abelovsky rounding the hairpin for one last time in this race. We will go the full 70 minutes, so a very long and difficult race for all the drivers. And Peter Abelovsky will take the win, and he will take second position in the Drivers' Championship. So a good job for him. Greg Metcalf, very strong finish here in second, and Alex Scott, the pole sitter, has to settle for the last podium spot just in front of Florian Kutz. Then it's Mika Korkiakowski, also good recovery drive from him into 5th. Felix Boucher in 6th, then Sten Mikkel Olsen, Peter Backus, Michal Klisch, still very close here right at the end. Yevgeny Leonov, Robert Horvat, Andrei Golubnishi taking the win in front of Rob Timpen and Chris Simpton. Then Alex Lausch, Bjarne Christensen, Muxi Istvan, and some retirements as well. Let's have a look at the final standings.